So this is Geoff, and Geoff's parents, Sheila and Philip, used to come to Lyrics and Lunch for quite a few years. Did they tell you anything about it, Geoff?
They did. They were full of it. They often used to speak about it. They looked forward to it immensely. Once the meeting had finished, they'd come home, talk about it and the fun that they'd had and the company that they'd enjoyed and the lunch, of course. But then they'd go on to look forward to the next one. Their sense of anticipation for the next meeting was great. It made such a difference to them. It really did, both of them.
And you're from a very musical family, aren't you?
We are. Mum and Dad have sung in choirs, ever since we were born, really. And my sister and I were introduced to it at a very early age. So we've sung with choirs as well. And they reached the stage really where they were unable to sing in an organised choir as such, and the church choir disbanded. So they really missed their choir singing and missed their singing generally. So when Lyrics and Lunch cropped up, when Mum was first diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a real godsend to them. It made such a difference to their last few years.
And I understand that they also went to a different kind of singing group too for people living with dementia. But Lyrics and Lunch had something slightly different.
That's right. I mean, they loved the first one that they went to. They really did, because it was so new and unexpected. But when Lyrics and Lunch came along and was available to them, that, yes, added another dimension, I think, because of the spiritual side of things. Never laid on too thick, I don't think. And they never spoke about it much, but I know it did mean a lot to them, and it added another whole dimension to the singing for the brain kind of concept.
Because their faith was very important to both your mum and your dad, wasn't it?
Yeah, very important. Again, from their youth, really, their Christian faith, although sometimes understated, and they never spoke a great deal about their faith, there was no doubt that their lives were grounded in faith. And that's why the spiritual aspect of Lyrics and Lunch was special for them. Again, I think perhaps more so in their latter years. That's why it meant so much at that time.
And Elaine tells this wonderful story about a conversation that your mum Sheila had with her GP. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the GP was asking Mum various questions to kind of test out how her memory was doing. This was after she'd been diagnosed with dementia, so it was a routine appointment, I think. But the doctor commented how much better she seemed since the previous time he'd seen her. And Mum immediately chimed up that it's because of the music, it's because of the singing. And the doctor kind of said, well, what singing's that? I think surprised to hear that response. So Mum told him all about Lyrics and Lunch, and that it was that really that was helping her to cope, and in fact had helped her to show a real improvement in her memory.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. And then after your mum sadly died, your dad continued to come just occasionally with Elaine until his death just after his 90th birthday, didn't he?
That's right. Dad wasn't able to get very often in those last 12 months, 9 months. But when he did, it was very, very special, not just for Dad, but for my sister Elaine, who was able to go with him on more than one occasion in those last few months. And it undoubtedly kept Dad going, and really saddened him when he was unable to go any longer because of his physical condition. But it really made a big difference to him. There's no doubt about that. You should be able to get Lyrics and Lunch on prescription, I think.
We're doing our best. Well, thank you ever so much. That's really kind of you to come and speak to me from your car this afternoon.
Thanks to Lyrics and Lunch for all they did for Mum and Dad.